All right, everyone. I know that was not exactly the ending we wanted to see from the Kansas City Chiefs after they go down and score to go up 28-24. And then we see that disgusting display of special teams. Ryan will not be here this evening. He is currently doing pulling dad duty, but he will be with you guys tomorrow night for a live Q&A at the same time as normal on Tuesday this time. So just try to maintain the composure there. He will be there for you guys. And I know we're all kind of disappointed about how that not just maybe disappointed, but really frustrated and mad about how that could have gone. But I will I'm gonna do my best to calm you guys down a little bit because I know that's not what you wanted to see. But you guys, welcome into RGR football. Again, not the ending we wanted to see, but this is what we do every single game. After the game, Monday Night Football lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville, and Kansas City can't get it done. Please, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that sub button right now. We'll get through this, right? We'll get through this together. Please take a few seconds to like the video, even if you're not happy with the way that the Chiefs ended that game, because I know I'm not. But, and Casey, don't worry. We'll have at least one for sure, because this is not exactly the type of game that you want to see coming off of a great performance against the beaten up Ravens. You come into this game, you go up 14-0, and then the dynamic shifts. The offense gets a little stagnant. Again, I don't want to put most of this on the offense. I think the offense was perfectly good in this football game. They moved the ball at will. They should have gone up. Jacksonville did a really great job with that disguised blitz that turned into an interception, returned for touchdown. So the defense wasn't great. Okay. I think the defense had some problems, particularly in stopping Trevor Lawrence in his legs, not keeping him in the pocket. The pass rush was pretty stagnant most of the game. And then the penalties. The biggest thing, you lose football games because you have too many penalties, and you have too many penalties in key moments. Chiefs went up 28-24, and then immediately Harrison Butker kicks the ball out of the end zone. You can't have that. He was close to doing that earlier in the football game too. You can't have that. You cannot allow the Jaguars on the 40-yard line. I don't care if they need a touchdown. It doesn't matter. You cannot do that. It's an inexcusable thing. And then Jack Cochran needs to be cut now. Right now, after the game, he needs to be cut. 2 holding penalties on kick returns. One, there was a huge kick return, and the other one from Smith at the end of the game put them very close to being able to get a field goal attempt off. And it was taken back because he cannot do his job. And Nico Remigio doing something stupid. 3 straight kick returns with penalties that did them in. That is how you lose football games. Penalties, 13 penalties. And to your point here, Andrew, thank you for the super chat. And by the way, every single super chat will get an answer tonight, guys. I'm not going to get to all your questions because Ryan will do the Q&A tomorrow at the normal Q&A time, just on Tuesday. 13 penalties. We just don't care. No discipline. The Jags had 4 penalties, and that's the difference in the game. No excuses for that. That's pathetic focus. And again, you guys know that I don't believe in terms of fairness, one side versus the other. You're just, when you get penalized that many times, you're going to lose a football game. If you win a football game with 13 penalties or over 100 yards, you didn't deserve to win that football game because you're undisciplined. Multiple times we saw penalties derail beginnings of drives. They gave Jacksonville new life. They did so many things to hurt themselves in this football game. It wasn't a greatly officiated game, but they put themselves in position multiple times. I watched the replays on most of the penalties. They were bad. They were just bad plays from the Chiefs. Like, the special teams lost them this football game, but I think the defensive effort in the back half of this football game lost it too. And it's an unfortunate situation because we talked about Chamari Connor multiple times about how he can't be on the field. And that gotta have it situations where he's got to play coverage. He shouldn't be on the field. That's inexcusable on my part. It's costing you football games. He gets penalized. He can't cover. Why was he even close to Brian Thomas Jr.? Why is he close to Travis Hunter? Like, these things, it doesn't matter. You can't be doing any of this. He can't be on the field. So I want to take a few seconds here. One, thank you very much, Andrew, for the super chat. I appreciate you, and appreciate the support. I want to take a few seconds here and talk about the offense, okay? Because the main issue here was coming into this football game, were they going to be able to sustain The offense. The offense was good. It was very good. I think that they moved the ball pretty much at will outside of the unfortunate penalty at the goal line, interception at the goal line. I think that they did a really nice job in this football game. They attacked the Jags. Part of my game plan for this was to come out and throw the football. They did that. They did that. They did a really good job. They did a really good job of throwing the football and figuring that out, right? But and yes, Red, I'm tired. I'm very tired. So I'm I'm trying, guys. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to calm everybody down. We're all a little tired. We're frustrated. So getting into this is a little bit different. Maybe we'll do a rant later in the week. I'm not entirely sure. But when you see the offense go out there, I think consistently do what they needed to do. I think they ran the ball well after they threw the football. I got no problems with the offensive game plan. I got none. I think that they did a good job and they executed this game. They should have put up 30 plus points in this game. And the interception, this is what it was, a really good defensive play call. Really good. They dropped Devin Lloyd out from that blitz and then they throw an interception on accident. Like it was a good play by the defense. So we can't just go ahead and say that was what cost them. No, it was a really good defensive play. And the offense did not execute poorly. I think they did a really good job. Defense is the inexcusable part. The special teams is the inexcusable part. That's something that we haven't really seen be an issue for the Chiefs this season in terms of costing them football games. It cost them a football game today. It did. You can't have those penalties. Oh, you can't have that. So again, every super chat will get an answer. Every super chat will get put up on the screen today. I really liked the last drive that they had on offense that was the touchdown. And the reason I like that is because they got the ball with 8 minutes left. They ran the ball well. They came out in multiple tight end packages multiple times. They threw the football out of it. They ran out of it. They had 12 personnel 4 times, 13 personnel 3 times. And, they did a really nice job. But the penalties, I have a lot of red here that's just penalties on my notes. Like it's awful. Like you cannot have that many penalties in a football game. When you play that inexcusably and that undisciplined, it shows you how special teams can lose you a football game. And for a unit that is usually buttoned up a little bit more, no, Robbie, it's not. I'm sorry. This is not even close to being true. It's not. It has nothing to do with that because the defense allowed Trevor Lawrence multiple times to run for first downs, for touchdowns, and the special teams got multiple penalties that forced them into bad situations. The offense did not cost them the football game in any way, shape, or form. None whatsoever. I have zero issue with what they did offensively. Special teams almost single-handedly lost in that football game. The defensive effort wasn't great. I thought that outside of the first quarter, the defense really struggled to maintain things. They obviously the turnover on the 1 yard line with the punch out by Bolton was great. The Chiefs go down and score and take a 14-0 lead, but they felt disconnected the rest of the game. Like there were some good plays here and there, but by and large, they were able to the Jags were able to run the football pretty well, and Trevor Lawrence hurt them with his legs multiple times. And when you're unable to maintain rush lanes, when you don't have a pass rush that can collapse a pocket, how many times did we see Trevor Lawrence come up through the pocket because there was wide open rushing lanes? Like it was so easy for him to get out on the move. And then down on the goal line, he falls down and there's nobody there because they can't get through the offensive line. It's tough, man. The defense is for everything that they've done for the most part this year. I thought they would have had a much better performance in this football game. And I just didn't see a lot of that throughout the rest of the game outside of the first drive or the first quarter, excuse me. And this goes back to what Ryan and I have talked about ad nauseum for multiple years. The defensive line's not good enough. And I know that Chris Jones, like Bumpa says right here, Chris Jones paid $30 million to make a play. This is the problem, one, with Chris Jones having to do everything because now he has to do everything. He's exhausted and there's nobody else that can help him out. I'm not making excuses for some of the effort that I saw out there because I didn't think it was great. However, He is the only player on that defensive line that anybody asks to go do something because he's the only one that everyone knows can go do something. Nobody else can. That's the problem. It's not a Chris Jones problem. It's an everyone else problem. Everybody else. They don't have edge rushers that can legitimately threaten a quarterback. And Chris Jones is gassed at all points in time. All points in time. It's frustrating. It really is. So I appreciate the super chat, Bumpa. Hopefully he can get better because I still think that he needs to be able to play a little bit better, but I don't really put a whole lot of this on him. Most of my frustration is with the rest of the defensive line. And then I understand people are saying you should really spy Trevor Lawrence. Well, you can, but if you spy him, they did a couple of times later in the second quarter, I believe, where they had Leo Chanel come on the field, fake like he was going to rush, and then he comes out now where he's playing more of a spy type thing like he did with Lamar Jackson. But you can't just always devote a spy to him because he's a good enough athlete to get outside the pocket when when a defensive line can't rush him and can't get pressure on him, that he'll find an open man eventually. You devote someone to a spy at all times, it creates a problem dynamic everywhere else. So I know, I know. And Chris Jones, honestly, I don't think he had a bad game. There were multiple times that he blew up plays, that he forced things to happen. So I'm going to try to take the load off of Chris Jones. It's not all his fault. He's forced to do everything for that defensive line. Everybody else is at fault. Nobody else can do anything at all. Testicular Tactics, thank you very much. This is, as Ryan says, his favorite, one of, if not his favorite handle here on Twitter. Not Twitter, on YouTube. Appreciate the support. Why can't we tackle a down quarterback? That's one of those things, right, where nobody gets quick penetration. They're not built that way. Even on the goal line, where you're just trying to run the ball, or look like they're running the ball, he falls. There's no quick penetration. There's nobody there. They can get into the backfield to tackle Trevor Lawrence, so he can get up. And then, unfortunately, Chris Jones falls off that tackle where he probably needs to have that one. That one's probably where I give him the most blame. Everywhere else, I'm not too mad. I'm a little upset that he did not tackle Trevor Lawrence down there at the goal line, because then they have to scramble. They have to do a lot of other things. But I'm really, and to that point, Jamari Connor blatantly holding and getting in the way of Brian Thomas Jr. in the red zone, in the end zone, forcing a penalty. Like, these kind of things can't happen. It can't happen. Doesn't matter. Yes, Jacob's right. There was a defensive holding on that play anyway. So that doesn't matter. You're right. I forgot about that. But regardless, all of that is null and void. It's more about the plays that happened before. You can't let them get on the 2-yard line. You can't. Appreciate the support, man. Oh, man, it's so frustrating. It sucks. 2-3 is not where the Chiefs should be. They should be rebounding. They should have won this football game. But when you got that many penalties, it's what it is, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, Avril, I'm sorry. The Chiefs aren't done. I think they're going to be fine, but it's not great. It's not great. One thing I will say, that you look around the AFC West, Chargers are 3-2, Broncos are 3-2, the Chiefs are 2-3. They're 1 game behind, 1.5 games behind the Chargers because they have the tiebreaker over them. So, it's not all downhill from here. I know they have the Lions coming up next Sunday night. It's going to be in Kansas City. I know that will be a tough task. I think they're going to raise their game for a better football team, that they may have underestimated the Jags just a little bit, but I don't think that they're done, guys. I think that they're going to be okay. And if you take off the penalties, if you can get rid of those penalties, I think that they'll be just fine and be able to beat the Lions. I really believe that. G Lee, thank you very much. Ryan and Dan and Ryan, you guys rock and have some of the and they have some of the shittiest positions to tell us what could be better or worse, but give it to us raw, as always, with love. Chiefs Kingdom, good luck. Thank you very much. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we try and do as much as we possibly can. And this kind of mentality that they can't beat the Lions, I think that's ridiculous. I think they can beat any team that they play. It's all about what team shows up, right? If the team shows up that played against the Ravens, where they don't penalize themselves, they continue to do what they did offensively, and that defense shows up, they absolutely can beat the Lions. That defense is Swiss cheese. That they have no corners. DJ Reed's not going to play in that game. Terry and Arnold's not going to play. There's no corners that they have. They don't have anybody. So let's just slow the roll here that they can beat the Lions, guys. Just chill out a little bit. I know this sucks to see them at 2-3, but we're trying, just try and relax a little bit. Carson, thank you very much for the super chat. The $4.99 did Connor primarily play in the slot, and they picked on him a lot. I don't know if he primarily played in the slot. I think that the game plan was still him playing a little bit of safety, but they did throw guys at him like Brian Thomas Jr., like Travis Hunter. They did try to throw players at him on purpose down the field, but they picked on Jalen Watson, who did not have a great game at all. He was being manipulated a lot. So his play dropped as well. And then you have Chamari Connor's play drop too. So it felt like when Jalen Watson's play drops, that's really the linchpin of that defense. When he's not playing at his best, they need him to be able to do that so everyone else can just kind of tear down a little bit. And when Jalen Watson is struggling, you can see on the field that the pass rush can't get there in time. They can attack Jalen Watson. They can throw the ball down the field, look for penalties. So if Jalen Watson isn't playing to his best football, he kind of creates problems within the defense as well. That does suck, but Connor just in gotta have it again. I'm going to say it again. In gotta have it situations, Connor can't be on the field. He just can't be. He's a liability in coverage and in penalties given up. Thank you very much, Connor. FLDB, one of our fearless moderators. Thank you very much for being a member for 52 months. All will be fine. Was a lot of sloppiness. Yeah. We've seen far too much sloppiness over the course of this beginning of the season from the Chiefs. And this was just not. I think the reason I'm so mad about like how they lost this game is because I didn't expect them to lose because of the penalties on special teams. Like if they lost this game and it was because Trevor Lawrence just outplayed the defense and he was just making crazy throws. He made some really, really good throws and he beat them with his legs for sure. But the Chiefs cost themselves this game with penalties, with dumb, stupid mistakes and bad football players in positions that they shouldn't be in. Jack Cochran shouldn't be on this roster. We've known this for a long time. Chamari Connor should not be on the field and got to have situations. Like it's all those little things that shouldn't happen. So that's more of the frustration, I think, because I didn't expect that to happen. Thank you very much, Jacob, for the $4.99. Defense needs help. They can't get pressure with just 4. Very true. Embarrassing performance, disgusting performance from special teams. I'm fairly happy with the offense. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that the defense, this was their worst performance against any team this year. I know everyone's going to say the Chargers, but the Chargers were relatively healthy to start the season, and Justin Herbert got them with a change in game plan. And I think that in the second half of that football game, they played much better. They had the one play where they couldn't get Justin Herbert and maintain that rush lane. But this game specifically, I believe they were far worse defensively in the second half. Outside of the first quarter, I think the defense was just not good in stopping Trevor Lawrence and being able to maintain rush lanes and then in pass coverage and got to have it situations. So again, I still think special teams is what cost them this football game. But when you have a defense out there that is not executing as much as they needed to, it puts you in poor positions. So I'm pretty much on board with you right there, Jacob. Thank you very much for the support. You guys, I'm going to keep this a little bit shorter tonight. So we're probably going to go 30, 35 minutes. One, it's late here. It's almost midnight. And, I'm going to get through all the super chats. Absolutely. And then Ryan will have another Q&A for you guys tomorrow. So you get me tonight for the live reaction. I'll go through some of my notes. I'll answer all your super chats and questions in those super chats. Get to some more of my notes. Talk about what he'll be doing tomorrow. And then hopefully we'll see how much film I can get to for Wednesday. If you guys actually in the comments, could you put what you want to see from the film review on Wednesday? Because that's something that I'm going to struggle with a little bit right now. I want to streamline this into getting views for you guys because I want to hear what you want to watch personally. So Quentin, thank you for being a member for 47 months. I love the paperclip right there. Can you talk me off the ledge? I'm ready to support the Donkeys. You absolutely should never do that. That's mistake number one. Even if the Chiefs don't have the best season this year, right? I think the biggest talking point here is that the only game I think the Chiefs actually lost because they got completely outplayed was the first game. And even then, I think they recovered well against the Chargers. The defense played better in the second half. The offense played better in the second half. They should have beat the Eagles. They had that tip that cost them the football game. And then mistakes in this football game. Like that's what this was. They should have won the football game if they don't have all those penalties. So talking off the ledge is we've been here with the Chiefs. They have had these seasons where they start off. They had a season a few years ago that started off 2-3, and some execution issues as well as penalties early in the season. So I still think that they're going to be able to get right. We'll talk more about what they can do against the Lions to get to 3-3. But the season's not lost. There's still so much football left to play, guys. And remember, you also have to remember, before we even started, I thought the Chiefs were going to finish 12-5 this year. I didn't think it was going to be an easy path to just getting back to where they were. And I still think the offense is playing very, very well. And if they can stop the penalties and the 14-point flip they had there, which was, again, an unlucky situation, they're going to be just fine. And they're going to be on their way. They're only one game behind in record of the Broncos as well as the Chargers. And the Chargers are injured. I don't think the Broncos are all that great. So there's a lot to still left to be played for. Let's just kind of take a step back and remember that this was week 5. Not a great performance from the special teams. Not a great sign that they lost with those penalties, but all that's fixable. And the offense is getting back on track, I think. So there is still a lot to be left to be played for. Angler, I appreciate the support. The interceptions aren't because they had nothing to do with running the football more on the goal line. Those were, first of all, a drop from Travis Kelce and a very good defensive play. That's all. It happens. I don't have any problems with them throwing the football there. I got none. Appreciate the support, but yeah, I don't have any problems with that. Beach, thank you for the 2. Need 15 under center more and more. I don't disagree. I really don't. But I do think that this was a fine game plan offensively. Against the Jags, this is what I expected. I think that they threw the ball well. I think that they adjusted to when they started to have some penalty issues and started to execute. The execution wasn't always there. I thought they adjusted well to that. So I think that's, it's okay. I don't think the offense was the problem. I think the offense was fantastic in this game, and they should have scored more points. And they got an unlucky turn of events there that turned 14. I know it's, like I say, guys, I know it's frustrating to watch them go down there and throw a pick in the end zone. I get how frustrating that is, but I don't think it's the play calling. I really don't think that the offense should bear a ton of responsibility for the loss here. Black and Gold, thank you very much for the 5. Reed, Spags, and Tobe have got to change certain preparation habits. Zero accountability yet again. It has a way of showing up at the worst time. While I don't necessarily disagree with some of the preparation stuff, we've seen this over the course of the last 5 years. And every year the Chiefs figure it out. And every year the Chiefs find their way into the postseason and they beat those other teams in the postseason and they get to the Super Bowl. So, microcosm. This game sucked watching the special teams. It was awful. Lost them the football game. We'll see how they respond next week. Appreciate the support very much, Black and Gold. Another one here from Angler. No, Orman Lott hurt the rotation on defensive line. Yeah, absolutely. And he's got a different injury. It's not just the ankle this time. It was the shoulder. So this is what you're seeing where I still have problems with Steve Spagnuolo's mentality when it comes to drafting players and forcing them into his system. Omar Norman Lott is not Colin Saunders. He's not Derek Nottie. He's not any of those 2 gapping defensive tackles. It's not his game plan. But Spags asked him to put on more weight. And I think he adjusted decently to it, but he's had to put on more weight and face and have some of those issues with the injuries. So that sucks. Everyone being doom and gloom in here with the Chiefs aren't good, I think is kind of ridiculous when we've seen this over and over again, like an every year thing. We do this every single year. So we'll see at the end of the year what they actually look like, but I'm not going to be freaking out after week 5. Charles Abbott, thank you very much for the 5. No more excuses about Pat's deep ball. It's just bad. Adjusted completion percentage is abysmal. I don't don't agree about that either. I think he had one egregious miss today, but he was great everywhere else. He was. He was great everywhere else. The fact that they're airing it out more is great. I don't care about how many times he's completing it. Like, so he did a great job today throwing the ball down the field. He had one bad miss. Again, I don't like the one huge miss that he had, but that's also because it looked like Xavier slowed up on it because he's not all the way healthy, and still there a lot too much is being forced upon him. But I got no problems with the deep ball right now. They're still throwing it out. They're in and out. They're making some big plays. Like, I'm good. Can't have it all, you guys. This isn't Burger King. Who are our top 5 players in your opinion? Patrick's been the best player on the Chiefs all season long. Running the football, throwing the football, carrying the Chiefs on his back. He's been the best player. I think Creed Humphrey has been number 2, which, I mean, that's pretty great. He's been the best center in football, bar none. I mean, I don't have a prepared answer, Beef, but I appreciate the support. So I'm just kind of running through a Rolodex of players in my head. And now, most impactful, you could probably say Xavier, but I have to address this real quick. I'll be right back, Beef. This is enough to get me to rant right now. Why? Why? I don't know if I believe that, but 3 snaps is inexcusable when you are throwing Chamari Connor out there. Huh. Okay. Thank you for that, FLDB. That is jarring information. Absolutely jarring. Wow. Okay. So I still think the way that Chris has impacted the defense, he's still been in the top 5 of players. I would say Josh Simmons, Trent McDuffie, and really honorable mention Leo Chanel. Leo Chanel's been incredible this year. He's been so good. So good. So yeah, appreciate the support. Hopefully, Ryan, you should come tomorrow and ask Ryan the same question. I wonder what he would say. Chiefs 82-88. Thank you for the 4.99 and the super chat. Penalties hurt them, but that pick 6 was the dagger. Defense played tired and timid. I understand that everyone thinks it was the dagger. The Chiefs took the lead after that. They took the lead after that. They went and they took the 28-24 lead. It was not the dagger. It was hard to come back from. They did it. They got a pick. They went and they scored a touchdown. Then they took the lead. Okay. It's frustrating to watch that turnover happen. Credit the defense, but it did not cost them the game. It didn't. They took the lead after it. It was the special teams penalties. Harrison Butker kicking the ball out of bounds on the ensuing kickoff. Jack Cochran making 2 big penalties. I'm not going to argue anymore about the pick 6 being a dagger. It wasn't. The Chiefs literally took the lead. So if you think it was, you can think that, but you're wrong because they took the lead after that. So that's just how it works. I'm sorry. Points tell you what the dagger was, and penalties cost you football games. Throwing a pick, yeah, it can, but it didn't cost them this one because they did take the lead. Appreciate the support, Chiefs. Ballsy, thank you very much for the 199. Appreciate the support. Got another one here from Jacob. What can Beach do? Right now, we can't do anything. I mean, I don't think they're going to be looking to trade for anybody because you're going to be asking players to give up good, teams to give up good players to help improve your team. Like maybe you can get a Christian Wilkins if he's healthy, but we have heard nothing from anybody about Christian Wilkins. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's a big no. But at this point, you're in the situation. You're in the situation where you are because of how they've built the defense and how they want to. Like, and I got no problems with it because Spags is one of the best ever. He's Hall of Fame defensive coordinator. I don't think this was their best effort. I still put the majority of the blame on special teams. If they execute, they're going to be just fine. Ballsy, another one here for me. Appreciate you. Not mad, just annoyed. Time to get Brees or Niche. I don't think the run game was the problem today. I'm not saying that they can't improve the running back room, but when you're looking at like giving Brashard Smith more touches, which I think needs to happen, going to trade for someone to not help him, not help Brashard Smith get better. I think that's the big thing here. Pacheco, I want to shout out Isaiah Pacheco. I've dogged on him most of the season. He had a very good game today. Great outlet for Patrick Mahomes multiple times. He was running physically. He had a big run. Both him and Kareem Hunt had big runs today. You could see that they were kind of throwing the football to be able to run the ball. And they did that well. And I think that later in the game, especially on that last drive where they could run the ball, they were getting 5-6 yards a pop. They did a really good job on that. So I'm not sure you're going to be able to trade for a defensive end because the only thing that really will help them is getting a speed guy. And C. Spagnuolo does not want that. So I mean, I appreciate the support, my guy, but I just don't see them doing it. And this is what we just talked about. Adrian, thank you very much for the 2. Oh, yeah, Christian Wilkins, are you healthy yet? I mean, we've heard nothing. We've heard nothing. I'm not putting any eggs in that basket. I just can't do it. Appreciate the support, my guy, but I really maybe we'll see. We'll hear more once things happen. DC Outlaw, thank you for the 5. Don't we have to just accept that penalties are us after all these years and just figure into any game predictions? I don't think the 100 yards of penalties is the Chiefs. It happens every now and then to them. It happens to every team as usual. But like they typically have these glaring penalty games that do cost them football games. A lot of teams will have the glaring penalties and then they win some of those games. They get lucky and they win them. I don't think the Chiefs are in that situation where they have those penalties and then they win them right now. We're just seeing them lose those games. So it becomes a bit bigger of a microscope when you've already lost 2 games in the season. You're 2-2. You just come off a win against the Baltimore Ravens. Everyone's like, you're back. Oh, but you end up having a game like this where the penalties essentially cost it to you. So some penalties, yeah, I would agree with that. But 100 yards on 13 isn't really where I would say. Angler, thank you very much for another 199. And we want to talk about some positivity, right? This right here. The offensive line was fantastic. This was a great performance from the offensive line. And yes, continue to look, like Beach says, the offensive line is getting better and better. And when you can give Patrick that time, when you can run the ball well, they ran the football three times for touchdowns in this football game. Patrick had 1, Kareem Hunt had 2. They're getting better in the run game. They're getting better with running the football in general. The offensive line is getting chemistry back. I know that Kingsley had that one penalty, which that sucked. I wasn't a fan of them snapping the ball before the quarter was up. Personally, you just got a first down, go into the quarter. You're only down a touchdown. Go ahead and get the right play call. So I didn't like that so much, but overall, I think that they've done a really good job getting the offense on track. The offensive line is getting much better. Hats off to Josh Simmons. Came up quick with an injury, with a sickness today, but he played through it. I thought he played very, very well. And across the board, they gave Patrick a lot of time. And for the most part in this game, they played very well. So they did a great job. And I'm excited to see what they're going to continue to put on the field. Jacob, thank you very much for another super chat and the support. Oh, you're going to be pissed watching Jones' effort on Lawrence's last touchdown. I did see the game, right? Like I watched that last part, and like you said, like you reiterated earlier, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Say he tackles him, they get a penalty anyway. So at the same time, I did see him kind of like fall. It was more like a fall to the tackle instead of trying to tackle, but he was absolutely gassed. He was gassed, man. Absolutely so exhausted. And that's another part of that, where that penalty there in the end zone, if you get fourth down in that moment or you actually get the turnover, none of it matters. You get rejuvenated in fourth down. Like this is the last one. So Chris definitely fell off there. I thought he was the one that when came up to tackle him. But either way, I know it wasn't a great situation for him there, Jacob, but I appreciate the support as always. And Sean here, I just saw this 476 yards from the offense tonight, and they ran the ball really well. Kingsley looked great in my mind, and Simmons again looks like an absolute steal. I think this is one of the bigger takeaways from the game of the offense, right? I think again, I know everyone's kind of frustrated with the offense having some points of stagnation. However, I think they put up nearly 500 yards of offense, and they executed well in those big moments near the end of the game and went down, took the lead, went and so when they took advantage of that interception from McDuffie, they scored, and then they went down and they took the lead at the end of the game. So, like I do think the offense is on track. This was just a game where both special teams and the defense did not have their best, and Jacksonville, at the end of the day, went down and they took advantage of the penalties, lots of penalties. So hats off to them. They are 4-1. Chiefs are now 2-3, and looking to get right next week against the Lions. So I'm gonna end here with a couple of last notes here. If you guys have any more that you want to talk about for film, go ahead and put down in there so we can talk about film on Wednesday, because I got to get to watching that tomorrow. It was pretty obvious that Xavier was not fully healthy in this game. He got a couple of plays here and there, but he definitely was impacted by the ankle. I wonder if the travel did that for him. But down, I think Leo Chanel is playing some of his best football in his entire career. He's having huge impacts on the football game. Trent McDuffie was stellar in this matchup against the Jags. Really, safety play let them down. It really did. Safety play let them down in this football game on defense. And then you guys know how I feel about the special teams. So tough loss, guys. Oh, this is week 5. After the Chiefs play the Lions on Sunday Night Football, Rashee Rice is back. Rashee Rice is going to be back. So that is something else to look forward to. I also don't think they're going to have 13 penalties for 100 plus yards against the Lions. I think they're going to give a much better effort. Special teams altogether has been disappointing this year. Altogether. Penalties on returns, Butker missing kicks, Butker kicking it out of bounds. Tough loss. Not great. Yes, exactly, guys. Rashee Rice will be back. The Chiefs would be at home next week against the Lions. Like, I want you guys to take note of this. Even if, okay, so even if the Chiefs don't have a great season in 2025, watch the development of the offensive line. But remember, it's only week 5. Week 5, the offensive line is getting better. It's going to keep getting better. It's going to keep getting better. Try to remember that, and try to also remember that Spags doesn't have games like this very often. He's going to have a good game plan for the Lions. It's not going to be easy by any stretch, but he's going to have a pretty good game plan for the Lions. Dave Toub might be on the hot seat if they continue to have this kind of performance. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that. I think that he might be on the hot seat. I know Dave Toub is very respected everywhere else, and maybe it's dumb to say that, but at the end of the day, you can't have games like that. And that's not the first time we've seen that. And they can't get Harrison Butker right now. So all in all, it's a frustrating situation, you guys. But I appreciate you being here with me tonight. Like I said, Ryan will have a Q&A for everybody at the same normal time tomorrow. So don't forget to check that out. And before we get out of here this evening, so you guys can go and Have a better evening. Go get some sleep. Hand him in, excuse me, with a 5 and support one of our members. Thank you, Dan, for staying level-headed. Whatever happens this season, I'm not upset. Dynasties ebb and flow. The development, the offense is there. Yeah, I think that's the big thing is no one likes to watch their team lose 3 out of the 5 games to start the year. No one likes to see it, especially after coming off of 3 Super Bowl performances. And I'll be honest, I expected the Chiefs to have a better season to this point. I do expect them to go 12-5. Like, that's still on the table. It's still very within reach, I believe, for this team. It's going to be tough. It's going to be uphill sledding, but I do think they're getting better on offense every single week. I think this was another improvement, but you saw Xavier Worthy was hampered. The offensive line is getting better. So overall, I still think they're in a pretty good position, but they've been 0-3 in one-score games to start the year. They were 10-0 last year in the regular season in one-score games. So some of the coin flips that happened last year are coming back to bite them this year, and that's kind of how it goes sometimes. So hopefully that can stop and they can start winning football games the way that they're supposed to be won. You guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you guys for all the support tonight. I mean, how about instead of having a great night, try to have a better night, right? Go watch some funny videos. Go watch maybe the offense. See what they did well. Go back and watch the offensive line. That might make you feel a little bit better. But look forward to after this game against the Lions. Rashee Rice will be back tomorrow. Like I said, Ryan will have a Q&A for you guys. And then I will have film on Wednesday. So appreciate the support. As always, you guys are the best fans out there. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.